going, everybody? So I've just was talking to Arco early today, and he's just asked me to do a few more drawings for the interior of this car that we're building for Sema. So I thought I'd do a quick video of it so he can sort of get a bit of a look, and I'll also take some pictures of it and send it to him. So this is the basic interior that I've done. I haven't got a steering column and steering wheel and pedals and everything in there because that's sort of semi-irrelevant at the moment. So this is sort of what I've come up with. He said he wanted sort of a classic sort of style gauges, and he wanted, so like any of the audio and all that sort of stuff was all hidden. So what I've come up with, and I've sort of thought about, I actually thought about doing something similar to this in the Dodge when I was going to build a console for that. Was actually make a slide up, like slide up, sort of like roll away door, and expose the like your stereo or head unit or whatever you want to call it, and some AC gauges and stuff. So I've actually drawn that over here on this drawing. So maybe have like one of like your TV type sort of stereo sort of head units in there. So like maybe if you had a reverse cam or something like that, if we have something like that in this car, I don't know, but it's just a thought. And maybe a couple of AC vents, so there was no actual AC vents, but I've actually got one up in here so you can point down at your feet, so you still got that air circulating around in your feet, because that's always, most cars have that sort of thing. So maybe a vent up there, or a bit further down that's sort of not quite so visible, that would blow air across your feet. So yeah, and then have like your heater AC controls down the bottom here. I sort of just draw some dials, maybe a couple of buttons, and then just give a representation. And then you would go back into your shift area. I just sort of drew that in there as maybe like these. I know some of the old 70s cars had like a pull ball shifter with like a button on top. I thought maybe something like that might be quite cool, or maybe go something a wee bit more modern and maybe put a row of push buttons in there, like for, put the I think you can get an electric solenoid sort of type setup that you can put on your Transit shifts in it. You can just push whatever you want, drive or low or park or reverse or whatever, or neutral. So it's got all the buttons on it. Can't really sort of see the seats here. You can sort of I see the door panel. And like an armrest that sort of comes back in towards the door. I've actually drawn this line round and then come back up until where the speaker area would be if we sort of do something like that, but have it sort of so like you can see it but it's not really visible, and maybe have a wee bit of thickness in this piece, and then have it taper back into the panel so it's a bit more flatter through here, but have the armrest stick out, and have one of the old school sort of, that's what I thought of, maybe one of the old school sort of handles that you sort of pull to click to open to push the door open, but just to have that all that's on that door. So yeah, and that's sort of what I've drawn there, and that would sort of come back into where the back window is. And I also made it, I'll show you in this other drawing I've drawn, but have this piece here, so I have no like glove box or whatever you want to call it in the dash itself, but actually have a big pocket in the center console that goes up and behind the seats. I'll show you that in a minute. So I'll flip this page over. So this is what I've sort of drawn from the other way, looking in back and towards the seats. So again, your door handle and your armrest, and your seats, and this is sort of the style of seats that I've actually seen something very similar to this in a guy that did some upholstery in a car over here in Australia. I haven't physically seen the car, but I've seen the picture through this guy's website when I was looking through upholstery stuff, just to try and get a bit of an idea for maybe something that was really, really cool, and it's sort of almost semi-wraparound. And again, with the center console, I've made it so I've got a representation of it here. Have that same sort of system as what the dash has, so you can actually pull a slide all the way forward and cover like maybe a cup holders in your window switches, or maybe an extra couple of switches in here, maybe one to pop the boot or the trunk, whatever you want to call it. And then maybe just a pocket that you can pop your phones in, and maybe have a couple of charge ports or something like that in it, if you want to have that. And then but have this piece here lift up so you can actually pop stuff in there. So I've actually drawn it this here, so you'd actually have this sort of concertina down and around, maybe slide down further in the tunnel, or actually go underneath. That's just, but actually have like a false floor in that, so it comes up, so that handle can't go all the way back any further than that, but have like a false floor in it. So you've got like this big massive pocket in there, so you can actually store, like you could put quite a lot of stuff hidden up in there, so when the car's all closed down and all this is all pulled up, it's super clean inside. I don't know whether you'd have that maybe a polished aluminium or painted or what, and then maybe just some small speakers up in the back. So that's sort of what I've come up with for basic design at this stage. I've just sort of drawn that shifter in there again so you can see where it would be. So that's about what I've got there at the moment. This may change, but I think that's a pretty cool interior, what we've got so far. So yeah, that'll do. I'll take a couple of decent photos of this and send it through to Arco, so he's got a bit more of an idea when he's actually getting into building sort of the base of the car. Before I get there, hopefully I can get there before we get too far into this, but so we can bounce a few more ideas off each other. But I think that's pretty cool. Alrighty guys, thanks.